Hey, everybody. It is Monday, March 3rd, 2025. I'm Elena Barbera. Welcome to the Based Mother Show. Thanks for coming. Here's what we're talking about tonight. On Wednesday, March 5th, 2025, if you have been paying attention at all to Biden and Kamala's illegal immigration horror show, you're going to want to watch some must-see congressional television. So the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform has called 4 sanctuary city mayors in, and they're bringing them in for questioning. Michelle Wu from Boston, Mayor Brandon Johnston from Chicago, Mayor Eric Adams from New York, and Mayor Mike Johnston from Denver are going to be in the hot seat. I personally cannot wait to see this happen. They really, these guys have all actively defied federal law. And now we're going to watch them all get questioned. So back on January 27th, not that long ago, they all got letters from this House committee. I'm not going to read you the whole thing because it's 4 pages and nobody wants to watch me read a 4-page letter. It's not like Dolly Parton reading bedtime stories. That's cute. This isn't. Okay. So, opening statement, each one of them got their own. This one is for the Honorable Michelle Wu, Mayor, City of Boston, but they're all very similar. We invite you to testify at a public hearing on the matter before the committee on February 11th, 2025 at 10 a.m. Eastern, blah, blah, blah. So February 11th was the original date that they were called to testify, but Michelle Wu had just a few weeks earlier given birth to her 3rd child. So she was like, I can't go, I'm not ready. So they gave her a few more weeks, and now she has until March 5th, and everybody's coming on March 5th instead because they all got this reprieve in getting all their acts together and getting their stories straight and aligned before they came in. This separately, I'm not going to go too far down this tangent, but this does bring up the point that women of childbearing age running major cities shouldn't be a thing. Okay. I'm sorry. You can just say, oh, that's not fair. That's sexist. No, we need leaders who can serve, not leaders who are just completely having their bodies torn apart during childbirth and then need, a 6-month maternity leave. It's hard, childbirth. Worth it. Highly recommend it. But you shouldn't be running a major city. I'm sorry. That's just the facts. Anyway. Because clearly she couldn't do her job because she couldn't come to testify about the job she's doing in Boston. Sanctuary jurisdictions are states, counties, or cities that put some limits on how much they are willing to cooperate with federal agencies' efforts to deport illegal aliens. These jurisdictions take it upon themselves to decide what laws they will and will not abide by for all the purpose of shielding removable aliens, especially criminals, from federal law enforcement. There are about 12 states and hundreds, this is true, cities and counties with sanctuary laws or policies across the country. However, 4 cities stand out in their abject failure to comply with federal law: Chicago, New York, Denver, and Boston. So then there's, particular a paragraph in here about each city and each of their sanctuary policies and how they were founded. I'll spare you those details. You'll catch them at the hearing, I'm sure. To assist the committee's oversight of this matter, we request the following documents and information covering the time period January 1st to the present. Now, all documents or communications among or between any city official, employee, contractor, or agent of the city of Boston, any communication of those people with any non-governmental organization or representative, with anybody in the state of Massachusetts with regard to the sanctuary status, and any federal government related to the sanctuary status. So, and this is signed by the committee chairman, James Comer. So everybody involved, all their emails, all their texts, all their documents, all their policy writing, all of their, reiterations of their policies, it all needs to be turned in. Do you think they'll really turn it in? I don't, but let's see, because if they don't, they're going to be in really even bigger trouble if found out they're trying to, lie. Anyway, looking forward to seeing this on Wednesday. The committee just the other day put out this video. It's a good video that kind of gives an overview of why they're having this meeting. I have to say, I have mixed feelings about them putting these videos out. The Biden administration did it all the time. Now we're doing it, and Congress does it, spending taxpayer dollars basically on marketing ideas. It feels very propagandish, even though I've been studying this issue and there are no lies in this video. And I agree with the perspective of the video. It's still just run your cases. Do we really need these kinds of videos? I guess it's just we're just doing what we can. Patrick Henry wrote the "Give me liberty or give me death" speech document, and it got its way, found its way around. I guess this is just the modern day version of that. It's just, I have mixed feelings about it. Anyway, it's a good video because, again, I do agree with it in substance and in fact. Let's take a look.
For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment fails to protect our magnificent, law-abiding American citizens, but provides sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals.
Pushback in the sanctuary city of Boston. Mayor Michelle Wu says the city will not cooperate with his plan for mass deportation.
Police agents in Massachusetts arresting 2 illegal immigrants facing sex crimes against children in 2 separate instances.
Illegal alien from Haiti, the gang member with 17 criminal convictions.
Trump, you feel me? Will Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
Thank Obama for everything he did for me, bro. We'll get back to the video. It's worth noting that the sanctuary status in Boston started with the prior mayor, Marty Walsh. Marty Walsh left Boston to become the Secretary of Labor in the Biden administration, which I don't even think he lasted 2 years. He hated Washington so much, he now works for the National Hockey League. But he was the first schmucko, if I will, to float this idea that I heard while I was still living in Boston. And it was an absolute disgrace. Then to be sitting there watching my mayor say, we're not gonna help illegal aliens be rounded up by ICE. We can just let people break the law. And then back in 2023, Massachusetts passed a law. This was voted in by the people to give illegal aliens driver's licenses. So you're an illegal alien, you're breaking the law, you're here illegally, and you can then go into the DMV in Massachusetts, this is true, and you can get a driver's license. And even though in California, when they did that, there was a sharp increase in fatalities, automobile fatalities, of course, I'm talking about. But they refused to put that information out. They were like, no, they'll be insured and they're already driving. So now we'll be able to get them registered and insured. This was a step in the direction of getting them onto the voter rolls, because later Boston has voted to allow illegal aliens to vote in city elections. So anyway, it's all games. Now they're about to show Mayor Johnston from Chicago.
Trump administration is to get us to surrender our humanity.
To Mayor Brandon Johnson continue to reinforce his sanctuary city status to fight back against President Donald Trump's immigration policies.
So I don't want to hear that Donald Trump is trying to get you to give up your humanity, Mr. Johnson. Where's your humanity for George Levin? Just a few weeks ago, George Levin, a Chicago resident, was bound, gagged, and murdered, beaten to death specifically, by 2 illegal aliens in the basement of his own home. George Levin, I barely made the news. I've been talking about him. A couple of us out here. I assume I'm not the only one. So he was on Grindr, which is a stupid place to be, the app where you can, jump on there to find people to fool around with. And then he invited 2 young men over to his house to fool around with him and have a party. And these 2 young men were illegal aliens. They were violent. They bound him. They gagged him. They got his pants down first, so we couldn't fight, because it's harder to fight when your pants are around your ankles. And then they beat him to death and they robbed him. And they caught these 2 illegal aliens a few days later, because they were stupid, because they were obviously not smart enough to come through the front door in America. They were also not smart enough to not be tracked. One of them actually had an ankle bracelet on, so he had committed a crime in the city of Chicago already and had been released with an ankle monitor. But Mayor Johnson wants to protect those people instead of protecting his own citizens. All right, let's keep going.
So this is an example of sanctuary cities, right? You got an illegal alien convicted of sex crimes involving children, and he's walking the streets of Chicago.
We are compassionate people, so we're doing everything in our power to demonstrate compassion.
Lighting a sleeping woman on fire on a New York subway and then fanning the flames. 33-year-old Guatemalan citizen entered the United States illegally not once but twice.
Denver Mayor Mike Johnston is suggesting he would use Denver police to block federal officials from carrying out mass deportation efforts. Some say the mayor's comments went too far. They even accuse him of trying to start a civil war.
Castle Rock Town Councilman says Denver has had trouble housing newcomers, and they're spilling over into neighboring communities.
This isn't just a decision that Denver gets to make. It's impacting the rest of the Front Range.
Gang violence at an apartment complex in Aurora, or entering an apartment building with several weapons, then busting down a door at the apartments, which have become a crime hotspot.
Nonprofits have lined up to help the migrants that have come here, but nobody is helping the American citizens that are trapped in these apartment complexes.
Breaking news tonight, the city of Chicago now being investigated for sanctuary city status. Mayor Brandon Johnston receiving a letter from Washington, D.C.
Chicago, Denver, Boston, and New York, all of which are sanctuary cities, are now under investigation by the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform.
All right, so those are the letters that I just read to you a little bit. But back in December 23rd, it was actually a really cute Christmas present. America First Legal, who was run by Stephen Miller, the attorney who is now Donald Trump's deputy chief of staff. He sent out a letter to 249 sanctuary states, cities, and jurisdictions, counties, city councilors, mayors, governors, city managers. They all got these letters, all 249 of them. And that was a few pages. I also won't read you, but Wu, Johnston, and Adams were on that list in that 249. And they got a warning that these types of things, that this was coming for them. The one line that I pulled out of that letter to read to you right now is: federal law preempts any state or local law prohibiting or restricting a state or local official from communicating with DHS about an individual's immigration status. So, there was a lot more in there, but basically federal law trumps whatever gobbledygook sanctuary policies these people want to make up. So they have all been in violation of federal law, specifically, my favorite. Oh God, what is wrong with me? I'm just going to find the exact statute because I had it and I lost it. I do all my production on my own here. So if I have a mess up like this, I had it right anyway. U.S. Criminal Code 1324. It deals with illegal aliens and things like harboring illegal aliens. So the basics on that are that anyone who brings to or attempts to bring to the United States in any manner whatsoever such person at a place other than a designated port of entry or place other than as designated by the commissioner, blah, 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 is a criminal. So if you transport or attempt to transport an illegal alien, you're a criminal. If you conceal, harbor, or shield from detection or attempt to conceal them, you're a criminal. If you encourage or induce an alien to come to enter or reside in the United States, you know what you are? A criminal. That's you, Wu. That's you, Adams. That's you, Johnson. That's you, Johnston. And all the other 245 who got a letter. That's all you. And then there's going to be like all the other people who conspired, who worked with them, who knew that they were breaking the law and broke the law anyway. Because frankly, even if you don't know you're breaking the law, it's not a defense. Oh, I didn't know I could kill anybody. Anyone who aids and abets in the commission of any of the preceding acts, as I just mentioned, shall be punished. So you get punished by this federal law for each alien. So for every single illegal alien that you harbored, transported, induced, hid, all of them, every single one, you get a separate charge, which I find delightful, just delightful. Because all of these people, they did not mention, I didn't hear the guy in Denver mention Scott Miller. Now, in his state, not necessarily, it wasn't in the borders of his city, but I don't know where this illegal alien entered who killed that 64-year-old grandfather named Scott Miller. He killed him because he was driving drunk. He was driving a semi-truck, by the way. Go figure. I don't know how illegal aliens get hired to drive semis on American highways, but this family will live without Scott Miller forever. I didn't hear, Eric Adams talking about the cops who got shot by illegal aliens, or the girls who've been raped, or anybody who's been robbed. I didn't hear Mayor Wu or the governor of Massachusetts talking about Elias Vargas, who was murdered, the sandwich shop owner, who was also beaten to death in his basement right around the time that other guy in Chicago was beaten to death. Very strange. So there are all different penalties for all of these things. But if one of these illegal aliens does something like rape, rob, injure somebody, the person who induced, harbored, transported them can be imprisoned for not more than 20 years and fined. And any illegal alien who killed somebody, like somebody who killed Laken Riley, Jocelyn Nungray, Scott Miller, Travis Wolf, Ivory Smith, Rachel Morin, we could do this all day. So screwed up. Any person who harbored them, induced them, transported them can be punished by death or be imprisoned for any term of years or for life. So to me, that seems that Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, you're all guilty. You are all criminally liable for the people in this murders. Now, asterisk, I'm not a lawyer. Maybe there's some immunity. Maybe there's some protection for these people, which is why they have been so bold. But either way, getting them on the hot seat on Wednesday and watching them answer to the American people for all the destruction they've caused. And that's just the destruction of life in them robbing, the raping, the murdering, the, making people feel unsafe. Remember back in the beginning, like people in Brooklyn, when they were getting overrun, I was talking to people in Marine Park in Brooklyn, and they were walking distance to Floyd Bennett Field, where they had set up a tent city for illegal aliens. And those illegal aliens with their bus passes, or they were just walking into Marine Park, and they were ringing doorbells looking for food and money and clothing. Now, they were given food and money and clothing, but they were harassing citizens. Now imagine you're a woman, you're home with your kids, and these like 3 men are standing at your door ringing your bell, and you're scared because they're desperate and you don't know anything about them. It's not like, the UPS man is ringing your doorbell. Really, really, like what you've done to us is incredible. And those of us who haven't had all the crimes committed against us have had to pay so that these people could come here and commit crimes. We can't afford our lives. Most of us in America are struggling. The majority of Americans don't have $1,000 saved for an emergency. Over 60% of Americans don't have $1,000 if they need it. That's how dire the situation is for most Americans. Yet our tax dollars are stolen from us and given to illegal aliens who are killing people, robbing people, raping people, tormenting Americans. So I have no pity for these sanctuary mayors. And the only thing that would really make me feel good on Wednesday is as they exit this House hearing, they exit in handcuffs and they go straight to a federal jail. That is the only thing that will give me hope that this is going to end at some point. It's time to see some people pay the price for what they have done to Americans. Anyway, let's watch the rest of this video and just wrap this up.
Sanctuary cities going to get exactly what they don't want. More agents in the communities, more people arrested, more collaterals arrested. So that's a game they want to play. Game on. Game on.
So we're going to bring the mayors in. We're going to let them explain what their policies are, see if they can answer some questions as to who's paying for this, who's been in charge of this, what role has their local government played, was the federal government involved. If they're going to continue to disobey the law, then I think we should cut as much of their federal funding as we can cut.
So Massachusetts politicians have been on Twitter all day crying, they're going to cut our federal funding saying there's like $15 billion that we're relying on for certain programs and services. And they want to do windmills and all the things that kill all the birds and all the fish. And then they break those energy windmills, and then they go into landfills. They're absolute trash. It was a big psyop, a big lie. If you ever bought into the windmill thing, we go back and do some more research, because it's just a moneymaker. Meanwhile, heating prices for Massachusetts residents have gone up 30% this year. So imagine your heating bill was already probably $300 or $400 a month, and then it's up another 30%. Absolutely great at a time when you can barely survive. But, they're crying because they need federal funding. Pound it. All she does is turn around Governor Maura Healey and say that she is the future and her way is the future, and her people of Massachusetts are behind her and they love everything she's doing, and she knows what she's smart, and Donald Trump and Elon Musk are stupid. Fix it. Find your $15 billion somewhere else. Maybe get rid of your Office of DEI and your LGBTQ Office of Advancement in Boston, and what are they paying? Almost $200,000 for the commissioner of nightlife in Boston. Yeah, cut some garbage out of your budget. If there's a state that needs a Doge, it's Massachusetts. I would love to see any governor raise their hand and say, Elon Musk, I invite you and your team to come to my state and clean it up. Give my budget a big old enema. You think it's going to happen? Anybody? Even conservative governors would be like, that's a little scary. Don't know that we want to shine the light on this. Yeah, because they're all in on it. They're all in on the sticking their hands in the cookie jar. Anyway, guys, I've got to go. But I hope that this was helpful. I hope you will watch these hearings on Wednesday and have a little bit more background on, all these letters that have gone out. And so you're prepared and ready to watch these people get put in the hot seat that they earned. They did this to themselves. All right. If you like this, do me a favor, subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment, and God bless you and God bless America. Bye, everybody.